XRP is at the core of trillions in banking future. According to David Schwartz, banks have started to adopt XRP for payments, and one planned bank tied to Ripple will run entirely on the XRP ledger. The claim is coming as Ripple seeks New York banking charter, a Federal Reserve master account, and says it will confirm with ISO 222 messaging standards used by major banks. DBS and Franklin Templeton signed a memorandum of understanding this week to work on tokenized trading and lending products. Reports disclose Franklin Templeton, a US dollar money market account fund, is launched on DBS Digital Exchange. Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin is being used to support trading activity, and it's reported to be valued at nearly $730 million. DBS is also exploring the acceptance of SG Benji as repo collateral, which would add liquidity for tokenized assets. Lim Wee Kine of DBS said the move is a step toward offering institutional-grade digital asset services. And as you know, we've all seen the video of David Schwartz stating that the banks are wanting to work with XRP.
Banks, it's very sexy when you close a deal with the bank, and we do that sometimes, but they're very slow movers. They're very slow to execute. They're very conservative. They're never going to be Ripple success stories, and it's hard to get them to push the benefits down to their customers because that's risky for them, and then it highlights where they're inefficient. So we focused a lot on banks in the beginning just because a press release with a bank is a big thing, but we discovered they're just very slow to move. Like if all they want is a press release, now we're like, hey, we want to actually move billions of dollars now. And they're like, yeah, we kind of don't.
We also saw the United States of America now has a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So if the United States government is going to begin holding Bitcoin, I think that's going to be a massive driver of demand, and the rest of the G20 countries will probably follow suit. And then the last thing I'd say is that we saw recently the launch of the Bitcoin ETFs by a number of different firms, and Coinbase is actually powering 80% of the custody for those that are out there. But we're seeing a ton of institutional money continue to flow into Bitcoin now that these ETFs are live. So there's a lot of positive tailwinds for Bitcoin, and I think that there's never going to be more than 21 million Bitcoin ever made in the world. And lots of pools of capital still haven't gotten access to it. So that tells me this thing has a long way to run.
Coinbase CEO just said live on Fox that all G20 nations will establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve soon. Money will start flowing in. On top of that, he also says that, yes, we do want to become a super app and provide all types of financial services.
What I try to think about from a Coinbase point of view to make sure that we're continuing to lead is that we're storing more crypto than any other company out there. And customers trust us with their crypto. And when they're storing crypto with us, they're more likely to use our products, whether that's trading or payments or earning, staking rewards on their assets. So as crypto continues to eat the financial system, hopefully we can provide more and more of those products. And ultimately, we want to be a bank replacement for people. We want to be their primary financial account. And we can offer better financial service products across the board, not just on trading, but even things like giving you a credit card that pays 4% rewards in Bitcoin, which we just launched recently.
Would you say that you have an ambition to become a super app and as you just said, replace the legacy banks?
Yes, we do want to become a super app and provide all types of financial services. We want to become people's primary financial account. And I think that crypto has a right to do that. These are just more modern, efficient rails. It makes every payment in the economy fast and cheap. It kind of boggles my mind, why are we paying 2 to 3% every time we swipe our credit card, or the merchant is, but whether the merchant pays it or it just means the price is higher when you pay it. And so either way, people are paying these fees. It should not cost 2 to 3% every time you swipe your credit card. It's just some bits of data flowing over the internet. It should be free or close to it. And so that's just one example of many things that crypto can do to update the financial system. And
on top of that, breaking right now, Europe has agreed on first rules for digital euro. Casey Craddock, who is Ripple's managing director for the UK and Europe, has recently confirmed the launch of a euro-backed stablecoin on the XRP ledger.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cassie Craddock, managing director for the UK and Europe at Ripple. I've been at Ripple for 8 years now, so it's been quite the journey from, convincing banks to partner on a network to send cross-border payments, right through to being able to provide banks and financial institutions end-to-end digital asset infrastructure through payments, through custody, through stablecoin, and through tokenization use cases that we're going to talk about today. I think what's really been interesting from a Ripple perspective, I'm responsible for Europe, and I think what we've seen over the last year, 18 months, 2 years or so is Micah has really given banks and financial institutions this level of certainty to be able to lean into the blockchain and digital asset space. And so we've seen some really great innovative use cases on the back of that. So we partnered with SocGen Forge, one of the leading banks here in France, firstly around custody, but now more broadly on issuing their Euro CV stablecoin on XRP Ledger. There are many other use cases that we're partnering, our customers are partnering with us on around money market funds and bringing those on chain. And we're actually seeing that trend continue to increase as we start to see more institutional interest in this space.
Franklin Templeton said it selected the XRP Ledger for cost and speed reason and for its role in scaling tokenized securities. Reports also named BNY Mellon as the custodian for reserves backing RLUSD, a detail that underlines the institutional angle Ripple is pushing. Early integration tests and compliance checks are still underway. Industry sources say that a combination of custody agreements, stable coins, and ledger-based settlement could unlock multi-trillion-dollar flows in real-world tokenization proves reliable. But those sources also warn that large-scale adoption will take time and careful risk controls. Some analysts forecast a move to $50. Others have floated $100, and a handful of commentators discuss a $1,000 target. A small vocal group even claims that $10,000 per XRP is possible. Blockchain, artificial intelligence, online platforms are the future of commerce as the world moves to an internet-first economy. Magnificent 7 tech stock performance versus remaining 493 companies in the S&P 500. As you can see, the 493 companies just going flat, not doing anything, but the Mag 7 absolutely moonshot. Since the 2008 financial crisis, every transaction and every communication has moved online, but we are still at the foot of the mountain. The next step is internet economies, communities, cities, and presidencies. The world is becoming internet first. Out with the old and in with the new, blockchain and AI are disrupting the legacy system. Regulators and lawmakers in the United States are currently pushing for the research, development, and integration of artificial intelligence and blockchain technology to modernize this financial system. The SEC and the CFTC released a joint statement in September teasing the shift to 24/7 capital markets to bring the legacy financial system up to speed with crypto, which trades around the clock. The US government also tapped Oracle providers, Pyth Networks, and Chainlink to publish government economic data on chain for added budget transparency and accountability to the public. So this is already happening, ladies and gentlemen. But what is the new narrative of crypto that you need to be knowing about? And that is the perp market. For the past year, Hyperliquid has dominated the perp market with billions in daily volume, a sleek user interface, and recent integrations across wallets like Phantom, Rabby, and soon even MetaMask. But cracks in dominance are starting to show. Kind of.